Know your worth. You must find the courage to leave the table if respect is no longer being served. Let me repeat it. Know your worth. You must find the courage to leave the table if respect is no longer being served. The person to whom this quote is credited is someone called Tenny Edwards. I actually have never heard the name before, and I came across it about 2 years ago on the web, but I've been living that life for over a decade before I encountered the statement, and it resonated with me because, of course, I had found out the hard way that it made sense to live like that. I want to talk briefly about how we handle ourselves in relation to other people, how we decide who to stay in touch with and remain friends with and remain in association with, and who we decide to step away from and withdraw completely from or cut off relations with. Like I said, I've never heard this person's name before, but I have actually heard this quote. If I didn't hear it, I actually read it for the first time about 2 years ago, and it's stuck in my head. And I've lived my life based on that rule way before then. So when I saw it, I said, it just made sense. It was something. It was kind of a universal truth that came as an epiphany to me at a point in my life, especially when I was struggling. It was actually a period when I was just coming out of the phase of struggling as an entrepreneur. But I was still having issues. People in my life who thought because they'd seen me fail that it would write me off. These are the kind of people that because they've seen you fall, they now want to look down at you perpetually, and they believe they're superior to you because they've never openly failed. So because you have chosen to be unpretentious about your pursuit of success so that everybody is able to see your failure, they want to use that to put you down and keep you down. They never want to acknowledge that you are rising. And if they have a way, they will find a way to cut you down if they see you rising. So when I saw this quote, I just said, wow, this is just it. So I just, like I always do, I just memorized it. You see, if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know the value of yourself, if you don't have respect for yourself, inside of yourself, the way you think of yourself, if you don't believe you are worth something, and if you don't believe that you deserve to be respected, then people will walk all over you. Now, this quote is more of a figurative expression. The idea is that remove yourself from any environment where people are not treating you with respect. People that put you down, that disrespect you, that lie to you, that use you, that expose you to discomfort, that make you feel bad about yourself, that their behavior actually threatens your mental, physical, emotional health. Okay, in other words, people who are toxic, those are people, okay, who will not serve you respect. They will not treat you in a way you deserve to be treated. Like I said, first of all, you have to know that you are worth something and believe it, and therefore expect it from people. You don't have to demand it. You don't demand respect. Literally, your actions will help you to command respect. And so one of the ways you do that is, like this quote is saying, if respect is not being served at the figurative table, get up and walk away from the table. That is actually how to confer respect on yourself by default. When you remove yourself, then automatically you take your respect back, even if they're trying to disrespect you. And it's very important for you to realize that you have value. And because you have value, others should see that value. If they don't see that value, or they pretend not to see, there's no way they will not see the value. Because we're not asking a person who is irresponsible, a loafer, a never do well, somebody that just riff-raff, so start asking for respect and walking away from tables. Nobody will notice that person. We're talking of somebody. I'm talking to you as a person who is a serious-minded, purpose-driven individual, and you are somebody that lives a life that in which you act responsibly at all times. Therefore, you deserve to be respected by whoever it is you interact with. So if you meet anybody that treats you without acknowledging your value, you need to act in a manner that helps you to preserve that respect that you know you have. And one of the things you do is you remove yourself from the environment of disrespect. So the figurative table is a place where disrespect is being dished out. And if it is being dished out in your direction, you need to get up and walk away from that table. And a lot of people have a problem doing that because they want to sometimes keep relationships because they think there's value in those relationships. They want to stay connected to somebody and they're thinking that the person is better than them and they need to be related to that, associated with that person. But the person is not reciprocating The person doesn't have to be at your level. The person can be richer, more successful than you. It doesn't mean the person should walk all over you. And you need to know, like I said, your own value. If not, you go through your life being stepped upon. And that's what this goes about. And that's my admonition to you going forward. I hope you find this useful. If you have any questions, reach out to me using the contact details on the screen. I wish you well. Now, in as much as this particular podcast is being published under the theme of web marketing, in other words, so it's for business users, my members of my club, my web marketing for CEOs club, it's still a philosophy that can be extremely useful to you in helping you make productive use of your personal time in relating with people outside of your business activities. So it doesn't matter who they might be in your personal life, whatever areas that where you're not doing business, or indeed where you have some kind of how do I put it now, interaction between or intersection between your business life and your personal life. Whoever it is that brings toxicity into your psyche is somebody with whom you should not sit at the same table. It doesn't matter who that person is to you. It does not matter even if you have blood relations or the person is the most supposedly pious person on the planet. If a person brings toxicity into your life, in other words, it brings negativity in the form of, as I said, disrespect, tries to use you, is dismissive of your feelings, is inconsiderate, such a person you should not accept to sit at the same table with the person, especially when you've told him or her that you are not happy with what is happening. So this is something, it's a kind of this admonition becomes applicable in a situation where you've actually had this experience over time and you found out that this is a recurring occurrence. So you then know, okay, so clearly this person or these people are not going to stop. They are not going to change the way they treat me or act towards me. And as such, it is important that I then respect myself enough to remove myself from make myself unavailable to them. Okay, it's something you are going to have to do. And in business, it can determine whether or not you flourish or you perish in business. Because when you meet clients that disrespect you, it has a direct impact on the way they perceive your worth, your value, and so it will definitely negatively affect your take home, your earnings, your remuneration, what they pay you. Because if he doesn't respect you, he will definitely not want to pay you what you are worth. So if you know what you are worth and you have a client that disrespects you, that's a client that's not good for you. That's a toxic client. I wrote an article many years ago, I think it was around 2007. I called it entrepreneur abuse, and I told about 4 or 5 stories of what I had gone through at the hands of certain clients that I worked with, and those are the things that influenced my decision to, over time, become a digital entrepreneur in which I do business with people internationally without ever meeting with them face to face, because I just got tired of trying to manage overblown egos and nasty personalities. You understand? And so the only way to insulate yourself from that is to put the medium of the internet between you and the person. That's another way to remove yourself from the table when respect is not being served. You separate yourself. At least don't let them have physical access to you. Then when they have digital access to you, you can control that. This is so important. Like I said, it can determine whether you succeed or you perish in business, because your profitability is a function of how well you are remunerated, and you can only be remunerated well if the client for whom you are doing the work feels that you are worth giving such payment to or such remuneration to, in whatever form it might be. It could be in form of material, it could be in form of cash, whatever it might be. If the client does not respect you, they will not pay you properly. So this is a rule, or I would say an admonition that you could apply as a rule in your life. Make it a philosophy of life. Wherever you find that you are not being served respect, and you don't even have to announce that you are leaving. Simply, you see, when you exercise that right to remove yourself from the table by being unavailable to them so that they can no longer disrespect you, it might not immediately occur to them that's what you're doing. So they might reach out to you and try to get you back onto the table. And then when you tell them because I do what is called no green and the cloth. In Nigeria, the pidgin English is used a lot. And so no green and the cloth means you're saying no to something somebody's asking of you, and because you're saying no directly to their faces, because maybe they feel they can force themselves upon you, then they try to force you, and so that leads to tearing of your cloth. In the process they're pulling you and you're trying to get away and they're pulling you back. But if you don't tell them no and you say, okay, give me a minute, I'll be here, and then you walk away, but you don't come back, you've done the same thing. You've removed yourself, but this time you didn't have to announce to them to give them an opportunity to try and persuade you to stay or to force you to stay. So I know green and the cloth means it's when you say no and you let them know that leads to your cloth getting torn. And that may be necessary if you think those kinds of people are people that probably might react in a negative way if you let them know what your decision is. So you don't tell them anything, you just take action, and then you repeat the action. Over time they get the message and they let you be. And this, like I said, is a rule you can use to make the most of yourself in business and in your personal life, because in your personal life you need peace of mind too. And when you allow people that are toxic, that disrespect you to be in your life, they will continue to do it, and there's nobody that enjoys being disrespected. In other words, you'll be unhappy. Then you don't have peace of mind. I love having peace of mind. I call it POM, P-O-M. I love it so much. And anywhere I see that my peace of mind is threatened, I avoid the person. Any human being that I see threatens my peace of mind, I avoid the person. If you do that for yourself, you will live long. You will look younger than your age. You will be healthy. Because believe me, your emotions, if they are in turbulence, can actually make you unhealthy physically. Believe me. All kinds of wrong hormones will be releasing toxins into your body. You age rapidly, and you'll even fall sick if you're not careful. Now, I want to also share another quote with you in closing. Just something to end it with. I think it's just it provides an apt ending to this presentation. Again, it's something I picked up from, it's another quote kind of, but I picked it up on the web as well. Here it goes. Standing alone is better than standing with people who don't value you. Standing alone is better than standing with people who don't value you. Motivation, direction. That's what's written at the bottom. It's just a meme I saw on the internet. But I think it's self-explanatory. So I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, reach out to me using the contact details on the screen. I wish you well.